All right, what's up, my peeps? Joshua Smithy with another GSD Mode podcast real estate tip, where every single week I come to you delivering different tips, tactics, and strategies to help you get shit done in your real estate business to make sure and ensure that you are crushing and dominating your real estate goals and creating the life that you know you truly want and deserve. So with that being said, we're going to jump on in, and today we are going to talk about how to work your CRM effectively and simply to maximize your results in your real estate business. Look, our CRMs are our number one most important asset, our number one most important tool, if you will, when it comes to growing our overall real estate business. However, there's a lot of complexity that comes to them. There's a lot of confusion on how to use them and go through all of this. So I'm going to break this down. And again, we're going to how to use it to maximize it in the most simplistic, effective, efficient way. Because what I have found, look, there's only four actual things, four features within any CRM that you need to utilize, your agents. So I know some of you are individual agents, some of your teams, some of your brokerage owners that are listening to this. So whether it's you or your agents, like these four things, this is the only four things that are going to yield and result you 99.9% of your overall results. Now, the complexity comes in because all these CRMs, and I understand this at a deep level. Not only am I a power system user in my business, but I own a CRM. And I'm not here to say that this is a pitch for my CRM, Perfect Storm. You can learn more about www.perfectstormdemo.com. so I got to plug it out there, right? But where I'm going with this is, look, whether you're using Perfect Storm, whether you're using, any of the bazillion other ones out there, I know that there's a bazillion of them out there. The complexity comes into play when, well, shit, they do these 1,000 other things. And then we think we got to learn how to do these 1,000 other things, right? Nope. Dude, do these four things. These four things are easy. They're simple. Do these four things. You set them up right. If you're consistent on these are going to yield you 99.9% of when it comes to your overall conversions and your overall results. Just forget the other, 96, or however many, let's say, 100 things, the other 96, right? Just forget those. Okay. So with that, as I said just a moment ago, your CRM is your number one most important tool that you're going to use daily inside your business. Now, let me just take a time out here, because I know that the vast majority of you are listening to this, not watching this, right? So yeah, I put this out on YouTube, but we're out, wherever podcasts are at, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iTunes, Google Podcasts, bunch of other ones I've never even freaking heard of. Essentially, we syndicate to all the audio, podcasts out there, and we get, 20, 30x the amount of audio, you listening to this, than you guys are watching this. YouTube, I actually suck on YouTube, right? As far as what the podcast goes, I get, the least amount of, views there. So if you are watching this on YouTube, man, hit smash that like button. If you feel, obliged to share, drop a comment. I guess it helps with the whole freaking algorithm thing on YouTube. But anyway, but with that being said, everything I'm going to break down with you today is not going to be a visual. So if you're listening to this, it's going to be just as impactful, because I understand that the vast majority are listening, right? So you don't need to be, watching this, because then the other thing as well is I can show you visuals, but I only have the CRM that I use, right? Perfect Storm, perfectstorm.com, or Perfect Storm demo, not perfectstorm.com. That's going to take you to Marky Mark's movie. Perfectstormdemo.com if you want to check it out. But I can only show you what mine looks like. Yours is going to look different. So I want to make sure that you understand. So we're going to break these down, without doing a visual, so you can go out there and see this. All right. So CRM is your number one most important asset, your number one tool. Why? Because what does a CRM even stand for? Most of our industry don't know that, right? It stands for Customer Relationship Management System. CRM system is a customer relationship management system. At the end of the day, if we don't have customers, like, this is a relationship-based business, dude. Like, more people that know you, like you, trust you, aware of what you do for a living, follow up frequently, the more your business grows and expands, right? This is a relationship-based game. We are in the human relationship, human connection business. How do we manage those relationships, right? Is through our CRM. So this is why it's the most number one important tool. You will never meet anybody that's a top producer in this industry that doesn't know this, that doesn't understand this, that hasn't mastered their CRM. So if you're thinking that you're going to get by with creating a successful long-term real estate business without CRM, like, you might be, do okay, make 80 grand a year, 120 grand a year, get by, and really just anymore. That's just getting by. Like, unless you're making at least 200, like 200 grand a year, unless you're like a single person, like, living in an affordable area, but even 200 grand a year is hard to get by with all this crazy cost of life anymore. Right? So to be a top producer, like you're never going to meet one top producer that doesn't have this shit dialed in, that doesn't understand this. Then from there, as you've heard me talk about on a lot of these podcasts, but in case this is your first time listening to this podcast, okay, there's three key core fundamentals to creating success in a real estate business, regardless whether you're an individual agent, team leader, brokerage owner. Come down to your strategy, process, and skill set. Right? So strategy is just, okay, what your overall effective plan is. So that's all strategy is. Who am I targeting? How am I targeting? Like, where am I targeting them? That can shift market to market, right? Process is going to be, okay, what you're doing, when you're doing it, where you're doing it, right? But that you attach the process based on your strategy. So once your strategy is dialed in, then boom, okay, the process is just the step-by-step actions that you must take to deploy and implement your strategy to get the results that you want to get, right? Then skill set is, okay, how well we do the things that we do, right? So now where CRM comes in is the process. So CRM is a system. Inside the system lives your processes, your instructions. These are your step-by-step actions that you must take or that must be taken for your strategy to be deployed. Now, again, skill set comes into play of, okay, how well am I doing those things, right? How good of a copywriter am I? How good am I at navigating those actual phone call conversations, right? So all three of these, and why I call these the three core fundamentals of real estate, is if dude, you remove one of these, it's like a three-legged stool. You remove one of them, boom, that sumbitch falls over and collapses, right? You don't get these three things right, like you're gonna have pain and resistance. Well, our CRM is what allows us to keep all this together, right? As far as the process. So then from there, when we think of again, your CRM is the place where you are executing on your process, the instructions to deploy your overall strategies. So hopefully that makes sense. Okay, so now I'm going to jump into the 4 things that you must master inside your CRM. And again, these for like just dial these in. It'll get you 99.9% of the results. You can forget about all the other bullshit, right? So I want to make sure that you understand these. I also, though, want to go into organization, because we got to make sure that your CRM is kind of set up correctly with organization before we go out there and do these 4 things. Now, real quick, though, before we jump into this, if you are a real estate agent, team leader, or brokerage owner, and your business is currently struggling, or maybe it's staying stagnant, or maybe it's growing, it's just not growing at the level that you want. Your potential is way up here. You're operating down here, and you don't know exactly what to do to get you from where you're at to where you want to go, and you're stuck. I'd like to invite you to schedule a 100% free, 100% zero pressure Zoom strategy coaching call with me personally. So this is going to be a 60-minute Zoom call with us together. It's going to be me and you. I'm not outsourcing some salesperson, whatever. It's going to be with you and I. We're going to spend the first 50 minutes of that call. Here's what we're going to be breaking down. Where your business is currently at, what your 12-month goals are, what your long-term goals are, what you're currently doing, what your current biggest obstacles are. And then from there, once I know about your business, then from there, I'm going to construct and walk you through exactly what my recommendation is to get from where you're at to where you want to go in the quickest, most effective, efficient, profitable manner possible. So by the end of this call, you're going to know exactly what you need to do to get from where you're at to where you're going to go. I'm going to remove all of that confusion. I'm going to make sure you have full clarity on that. The last 10 minutes, I'm going to walk you through some of the coaching program available options that I have available for you. And then look, if they're a fit for you, great. If not, that's okay too. Whether you ever move forward business with me or not, in a coaching capacity, I'm going to make sure that this call is a game changer, life changer for you. You can, whichever path that you go. And everything I do is zero pressure. So you got everything to gain, but nothing to lose here on this call. So if you want to schedule this, go to www.gsdmode.com/Zoom call. www.gsdmode.com/Zoom call. Okay, so now let's get back to CRM. So, okay, now we're going to talk about organization and just overall kind of basic setup, right? Because we got to get this right. So, and I'm all about simplicity. The second that you guys start adding complexity to your business, that diminishes your ability to go out there and execute. And why? Because, dude, like complexity, there's just more steps. There are more things to remember, just creates confusion. And if it's complex for you, if you're building a team or maybe have a team or a brokerage, or you want to build a team or brokerage, like if it's hard for you to follow, it's going to be like impossible for your people to freaking follow it, right? So I just like to simplify shit. Like let me simplify this to the easiest possible level. So my overall setup is there's 3 things that as far as categorization, right? Organization. All right, so I start off with categories. So this is going to apply to each human being I put in my system. right? Each customer or potential customer I'm putting in my system, these three things, apply, then how these three things line up, then kind of create a bucket, which dictates, my overall follow-up protocol, right? So that from there, okay, guys, start off a category. So category is, and it's very simple. They're either a buyer, they're a seller, so that's buying and selling, or they're an other. So if they're not a buyer, not a seller, not a buyer seller, yeah, boom, it goes other. Some people are like, well, Josh, who would you put under other? I'm like, dude, if they're not, it's like black and white. There's no gray area. I don't want to operate like I keep my shit simple where there's no gray area. They are either a buyer, they are either a seller, they're either buyer and seller, or they're another. Right now, a type. Type is going to be okay. Are they a lead? Are they a client? Are they a past client? Are they pending / under contract? Or are they another? Right. So then now I know, is it a buyer lead? Is it a seller lead? Is it a seller past client? Is it a buyer under contract? Right. Like, okay, like that's, so we got category, then we got type. Then the third component is going to be lead source, right? So because from a tracking perspective, we need to know this. So lead source is, okay, how that business originally came in. So is it Zillow? Is it Facebook? Is it an expired? Is it a FSBO? Is it an absentee owner? Is it an open house? Is it a friend, family, SOI? Is it a friend, family, SOI referral? That's going to be different from friend, family sort of influence, right? Is it a past client repeat business, or is it past client referral? Is it an agent referral? I'm going to segment those and get a little bit more granular with those. I'm not just going to have referral, because I want to be able to track, well, what's my percentage of referrals coming from past clients versus, sphere of influence, friends, family, SOI, meaning not, we have some type of a warmer relationship, but they're non-past client, versus agent referrals versus whatever, so then from there, based on how the category, the type, and the lead source line up, then that dictates my follow-up process. So let's just say it's a buyer lead open house, seller lead absentee owner, right? Because how I'm going to treat an absentee owner might be different than expired, different than a FSBO, different than, an online seller lead. Zillow might be different from, Facebook lead. All of these are going to be different, right? Potentially inside your business. So that's going to be my overall organization. So we want to categorize it that way. Very simple to do. Now, some of your systems are going to have tags. Some are going to have, whatever to do this, but like that's going to be the overall kind of, framework that we are following, as far as the organization. So, and that's really important before I get into the 4 features that we have to utilize, right? So now I want to talk about the 4 actual features within a CRM that you need to have, that you need to utilize to go out there, get 99.99999% of the results inside your overall business as far as increasing conversions. Okay, so number 1, and some of these sound basic, but like, dude, it's simple, basic shit that gets results. Number 1 is your ability to add contacts, whether it be manually or have them auto imported in there. So if I'm doing like online leads, okay, I can have them auto dumped in there, right? But I need to be able to add those contacts and then again, categorize, organize, if you will, the way that I just said. So I can, as I'm adding a contact, right? Okay, buyer lead open house. Yeah, right. So I need to be able to add individual contacts manually as well as automatically. Like if I'm doing a bunch of online leads like I do in my business, I don't want to have to manually import these one by one. That's a huge, pain in the ass. I have to do that with everything, right? So number 1 is the ability to add that contact and, accordingly with the organization that we already talked about. Okay. Number 2 is the ability to add notes and manual tasks to that given contact record. So I can notate everything that happened from that conversation with them. I can notate everything that's going on because you won't remember this stuff. So you want to have a very good, powerful note-taking record on each of these. So then that way it allows you to build off the next conversations, and so forth, right? It's going to enhance your skill set with this. So, every time I have, an experience with that person, okay, boom, I can notate it. Then from there, I want to have the ability to add manual tasks. Maybe I'm calling this lead and they're like, oh, hey, now's not a good time. On the way out the door, take my kids to soccer practice. Oh, yeah, no worries at all. I'll give you a shout tomorrow. Hey, what's the best time for me to call you tomorrow? Oh, how about 5 o'clock? Okay, cool. Call you 5 o'clock tomorrow. Boom, I can create a manual task in there. So the ability to add notes and tasks. So that's going to be element number 3. Element number 2. Or feature number 2, element, feature, same damn thing, right? Okay, number 3 is your ability to add drips. So when I talk about drips, what I mean by this is going to be your automatic emails, automated text messages, and automated tasking, right? So there's 3 types of drips that I need to be able to do. that I'm recommending that your system, and most of them do this, right? So this isn't like, some big monumental special thing. The vast, like if your system doesn't do these four things, sorry, you have a shit system, go get a different system. And there's 100 options out there for you. Right. So when I do this though, why is this important? Okay. So I can have the automated emails, automated ongoing text messages, going out. So, okay, when I have a lead go in to my system, most of them are going to go on a 1,000-day email text strip campaign. So those are just automatically happening. Like I want every lead, not in addition to the calls, but I want them, where it's dude, they don't go a day or two without, getting a message from me of some sort. Like, right? Like to optimize conversions, this stuff is really important. I look at my CRM. It's like my technology assistant. If I'm going to hire an assistant, that assistant is going to do certain tasks for me, that I can delegate to that assistant. The tasks that the assistant can't do for me, I'm going to make sure that assistant then is reminding me to do those things, right? So, okay, well, I say CRM is like my, online or kind of technical, virtual, whatever you want to call it, assistant, technology assistant is, okay, now they're emailing for me on my behalf, they're text messaging for my behalf, and they're telling me exactly when I need to do my calls. So this is where you want to have task drips, right? So, okay, when I have my no time frame established, meaning I get a new lead, I haven't had a conversation with them yet, right? My protocol pretty much for every lead source is call them day one, every other day for the first 14 days, every 21 days for the first year. That exists until a conversation happens, right? So, but my system is just telling me every day to do these things, right? So I don't have to think about it. I just come and look at my daily task queue. As long as I'm clear on my daily task queue, I am winning each and every day, right? Well, then from there, once I have a conversation, goal of conversation number one is to identify what their objective is, so their goal and what their timeline is. Well, then from there, let's just say I find out that they're looking to buy and sell in 18 months. Yeah, right. Okay, well, now I can just click a button that says, okay, timeline established, 12 plus months. Now it's going to start tasking me to call them on the correct frequency for when I need to call them without me thinking about it. Like when I get a past client, I just click a button, reminds me for the next 20 years to call them. When I need to call them for the next 20 years, 7 days post close, 30 days post close, every 90 days for the next 20 years. I don't have to think about it. Right. Just tells me what to do. It keeps all this stuff together. Remember, the CRM is to allow you to hold the process together. So you got to have the drip feature. Then the last component is just mass emails. Right. So I'm doing like I have 5.5 monthly mass emails that I do. So we do a weekly message, whether that be a Monday motivation message or a Friday what's happening in the area message, right? Then I'm going to do the core holidays, which breaks down to 7 core holidays. That's kind of the half. And then I'm going to do a monthly market update report. I'm going to send that. So I craft one email. It may take me, 5-10 minutes to craft that whole email, but boom, I can blast out to 90,000 people at the same time. Right. So those are the only 4 features. Like if you have these 4 features inside your CRM, now there's other nice to haves, like, okay, like in Perfect Storm. Yeah, I can do like, daily or instant property alerts. So I don't have to sign them up on MLS. So they're also getting those, but like I can do those out of my MLS if my CRM doesn't have those. That's kind of a nice, efficient feature, but like these are the 4 most important features to utilize, to plug in, and to have that will yield you 99.9% of your conversion results if they're used effectively. Now you got to, that's where skill set comes in. You got to make sure that you're deploying this stuff right. Given skill set is how well you execute on these things. Yeah, you can be following the right process. You can have the greatest CRM in the world, Perfect Storm, or whatever CRM that you're using, right? You can have the process dialed in, but if your skill set is poor, like you're gonna convert at a low level as well. But here's that's why I'm wanting to show these 4 things, so then that way you guys can go out there and get these dialed in and master these. You should be mastering these. You got to master the tools. Like, let me ask you this: if you were, I don't know, a soldier, you're in the military and you're going off to war, going off to battle, you're probably going to master the tools that you have to use to go out there and be victorious in that battle, right? Well, think of business as your battlefield. Yeah, right. Like, okay, well, aren't you going to master the core tools in that you got to use inside your business to go out there and be victorious in the battlefield? I sure as shit am. This is why most people just get freaking bloodied up and get murdered on the battlefield. Here, metaphorically speaking, in the real estate business, and they get their ass beat. They're living paycheck to paycheck, or having to go get another job or whatever, because they haven't mastered their tools. Yeah, right. Like they don't have the right strategy, they haven't mastered their tools. Right. They haven't mastered their skills. So they just get murdered. Right. Well, I don't want, I'm not going to let that happen to me, dude. I want to be victorious in the battlefield. So, again, metaphorically speaking, I know what my real estate battlefield is. I make sure I got the right strategy. I make sure that I got the right process and I master my tools to execute on the strategy and the process. And I make sure I got the right skills, the right training to go out there and execute and do those things so we can be victorious through this process. So get these dialed in and you will go out there and crush it with your CRM as long as you are deploying the right strategy and have the right skill set along with that. All right. So again, if you are stuck in your business, just want to end it with this because I want to give you guys, I want to eliminate any excuse or reason as to why you guys don't know exactly what you need to do to get from where you're at to making your 2024 goals or beyond a reality. So if you are stuck at all, you don't know what to go out there and do. Again, whether you're individual agent, team leader, brokerage owner, I don't care if you're brand new or you've been doing this 30 years, I got you covered. I got your back. I will get you 100% dialed in, but I can't help you if you don't seek my help, right? And this is 100% free, 100% zero pressure. I'm not going to beg you. I'm not going to hard sell. It's not my style at all. We're going to spend the vast majority, 50 minutes of this 60-minute call going through your business, where your business is at, where your 12-month goals are, what your long-term goals are, what you're currently doing, what your biggest obstacles are. Then I'm going to map out, hey, if I'm you in your shoes, if we traded places, here's exactly what I would do to get from where you're at to where you want to go in the quickest, most effective, most efficient, profitable manner possible. So by the end of this call, you're going to know exactly what to go out there and do. Now, I can't execute for you. Nobody can. There's nobody on this planet that can execute for you. You got to go out there and execute. But as long as you execute on what I tell you to do, you'll go out there and freaking murder it and crush it. Then from there, I'm going to spend the last 10 minutes walking through what my coaching program, entails, answering any questions that you might have. If it's a fit for you, cool. If not, hey, that's okay too. Do a lot of these calls where people maybe aren't in a position to move forward with it yet, or maybe they just don't want it or need it yet. That's okay. Like I said, I'm here to be impactful to you either way, whether it's for you or not for you. So you got everything to win, absolutely nothing to lose. So if you're struggling and you're not booking this call, I don't know what to tell you. Like I'm here to pour into you, to help you, to get you dialed in, but I can't help you if you don't ask for the help, right? So then from there, it's kind of like, well, then are you really struggling? Or are you just choosing to struggle and sit in the pain that you're in? Because it's a choice then at that point. If it's like you got the lifeline, like I'm throwing you the rope, you're in the quicksand, you're sinking. I'm throwing you the rope. I'm throwing it to you. I'll pull your ass out, but are you going to grab the rope? Then from there, okay, if you're not going to grab the rope, then just don't complain that you're drowning in the quicksand because that's your own fault at that point. So anyway, hope you guys found this impactful, helpful. Wish you the absolute best. Truly appreciate all your support. Keep crushing it. Keep kicking ass. And I will see you next time. Peace.